Hello everyone, you're watching the Green Dream Project. Jim here.
And Jessica.
We found a shady spot today back behind the motorhome. Not that I need it though. Looks like the clouds have come over, so I could have probably picked anywhere to film this. But now you get a good look at the double doors I just put in on the shed. I don't know if you've seen that, but if you haven't, I'm going to leave a link down below. Not that I'm trying to brag or nothing. But we're not here to talk about the shed or my double doors. We're here to talk about the rain. Very important.
And we're right in the middle of monsoon season right now.
Monsoon season is here. It's been going on for what, maybe a couple months now?
Yeah.
Couple months.
We weren't getting too much rain before, but just recently it's been really coming down.
It's been pouring. I was a little worried at first. I'm like, Jesus, monsoon season. I haven't seen much rain. Like, what's going on here? Or do we pick the right place? But the rain's been coming. We've been getting a decent amount, and it has just been amazing to see. Like, we ran out after the rains one day, and we were checking out all the different little areas it was puddling up, and just seeing all the new growth. Now, we haven't seen much water flowing. Maybe it's possible that our land might be too flat, but we have been able to see where it's been kind of pooling up in areas.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just great because water is an incredibly precious resource. I mean, it's important to all life, human life, animal life, plant life. All life on this planet revolves around water.
And I think in today's society, especially here in the U.S., a lot of people take that resource for granted.
And not just for granted, but it's almost like, we got to get rid of it. It's a nuisance. It's a problem. Like, they want to shun it away from buildings, from the cities, just get it away. We don't want to deal with it. And then, so one, it's raining already, so rivers are filling up, all these waterways are filling up with just the rainwater as it is. But now you're shunting all these concentrated sources of water from cities and buildings and stuff going into these waterways, just filling up these things, causing flooding, way more than nature can just handle on its own.
Yeah, and I mean, the water's clean when it comes down, but then, you get this concentrated water coming through, it picks up debris and garbage and stuff, and that's another issue that you gotta deal with down the line. Just
all that extra pollution coming from the washing away from the cities into the waterways. It's not good.
Yeah, and out here where there's less vegetation, we can see the effects of runoff when there is these concentrated streams of water, and it's not able to soak into the ground. It just goes over the surface. It causes erosion. It causes, different kinds of damage, and it can be dangerous sometimes.
There just seems to be this disconnect with water, this lack of respect, at least here in this country. And I'm not saying like all the areas in this country. I'm just kind of generally speaking, but just when you have the ability to just turn on that tap and you have, unlimited water.
You have to think about where it came from or where it's going when you're done with it.
You lose that respect. And it's a little different with us where we can see that water when, that's one thing about living out here, living with this lifestyle the way you've been. Like, so much more respect for water. Not that we had a disrespect for it, but so much even more respect. And just being able to see those water levels drop and knowing that is all the water we got until we can get it filled up again,
Mm-hmm.
It makes you think about it a lot more. Makes you appreciate water just a little bit more. So like, we're inside doing dishes or taking a shower, it's like, just kind of get yourself wet a little bit, lather it up and shut the water off, lather up, turn the water back on and kind of rinse off and turn the water back on.
Yeah, just trying to use just what you need.
just
Probably
what
same.
you need. And that idea of just kind of like that separation from nature, from how important water is, just not having the importance of, just not feeling the need of how important that is. I feel that's kind of invaded a little bit into the popular culture in this country.
Yeah, I mean, you think about some of the songs or poems and things you've heard about rain being a negative thing. You know, rain clouds are depressing and trying to like weather through the storm and get through a challenging time. It's usually a negative thing.
Just like, oh, we're just waiting for these clouds to pass over my life and waiting for the sun to shine again. But that's not how it always used to be.
So you have cultures all over the world that would celebrate the rain, from Australia, the Aboriginal peoples, places in Asia, Africa, and here in North America, a lot of the southwestern Native American tribes, that was an important part of their culture. Especially in arid regions, they would really celebrate the rain.
Yeah, all over the world, and especially in the dry. But all these tribes, all these older generations, they're going to build their. They knew how important water was, and if they couldn't build close to water, they had special techniques and things to utilize that water. But yeah, there was just a more harmonious connection with nature, especially with water, and especially in those arid regions.
Yeah, and you see water even being treated as a sacred thing, something that was a gift from God or a gift from nature. And, was incorporated into a lot of religious traditions, ceremonies. You see things like rain dances and rain making.
And those acts, those ceremonies were very spiritual in nature, but it even had a really practical effect as well, because just those acts of dancing and whatnot may have actually had a real physical act in actually bringing rain by kicking up all that dust into the atmosphere.
So you see a lot of these rain dances where people are stomping around, as opposed to like using rhythm with drums or something that might be stamping the ground and kicking up that dust. But I would say, like, seeing those ceremonies as an outsider, not really understanding them, you might think they're just dancing around, making noise, shaking sticks at the sky. But a lot of those cultures, the rainmaking tradition was taken very seriously. A lot of those people were priests or priestesses. They went into apprenticeships. They took years of study to really understand nature and weather patterns.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and a lot of knowledge, a lot of study went into that, to get into that position.
Yeah.
And not only did these people have ceremonies that, they tried to bring the rain, not only were they beckoning it, but when the rains did come, they knew how to utilize it. They weren't just shunting it off, treating it as a nuisance. They utilized it when the rain came. Those people really thought about it. They thought about how to use it. They are the ones that created like the earthworks and stuff that people are trying to use nowadays to utilize that rain. From swales to chinampas to oyapots. All these techniques were invented by the ancient people to utilize that rain when it did come. They were trying to get it into the soil. They would harvest it, and they grew plants around there to help. They utilized that water to help grow plants that had multiple benefits, including being edible, medicinal. They knew how to use it.
Probably plants that were appropriate for that rainfall in their location.
Definitely.
Because they had to. They had to do that to survive, and it worked.
So just being out here, and just observing like this monsoon rain, especially here in this arid climate that we're living in, we can just see just an amazing response to that rain.
It's a very stark contrast. You know, as soon as the monsoon season hits, it's like everything comes to life. So, like, originally we came from the Midwest. We were born and raised there. And for me, seeing the monsoon, it reminded me of spring in the Midwest where, you know, we start getting the warmer air in and some moisture and things wake up, they come to life, it greens up, and, you know, the plants and animals, it's like they're rejoicing this new life. And it feels like that here during monsoon.
So it's like our spring is like starts like in the middle of summer where it's just like everything comes to life. Like she's saying, like everything's green, all the acacias there are green, all this new grass sprouting up.
Yeah, there's all kinds of flowers that just appear and insects and different species that just only come out this time of year. It's pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing. Those dung beetles.
Dung.
Plants that you thought were dead, like, oh, that thing, they're now sprouting new leaves, and it's an amazing sight. Now, we've both been doing a lot of reading on, like, water harvesting, just how to better utilize that rain. And once you start getting into that kind of reading, that kind of knowledge, it just gets you more excited about the rain. Now, I've talked a lot about our water harvesting plan, so I'm not going to get into, like, all the details about what we want to do out here. I'll link to that video down below.
And I'm sure you'll see us putting more of that plan into action in future videos.
Yeah, I mean, we want to get started on that ASAP. We're probably a little too late in this rainy season to take full advantage of it, but there's more rain's going to be coming in the winter. We'll definitely have more stuff in place by then. We get so excited when the rains come. Yeah, obviously, we don't want to be necessarily standing out in the middle of a rainstorm. Well, except me. Sometimes I do. But we definitely, just getting out there, seeing, sometimes I am out there in the middle of the storm, just watching the rain and seeing where that puddle's up. Seeing where it falls off the trailers and the motorhome, seeing where it falls off of the shed and everything like that. And even though we don't have permanent systems in place, which can best utilize all that rainwater, we've still been taking advantage of it.
Yeah, just throwing buckets out where we notice the water puddling up or dripping off of surfaces. And we've actually been able to collect a surprising amount of water just from that, even with a single storm.
And a lot of people don't have the kind of patience and stuff that this lady has. But I mean, she's been going around, like, water collects on one of our tarps that we might have over the shed. And she, like, lifted up this tarp and started filling up jars to fill up these water just from various sources around there, buckets and little tubs that we have lying around. And a surprising amount of water. How many of those bottles did you fill up?
Almost all the ones we had. It's like over 20 of these gallon jugs. Plus we have some buckets and we have a barrel out there that's filling up.
So probably, just with these things we've put around, we've probably gotten close to 50 gallons of water just from various sources.
Yeah, not that much rain. Or not that many storms, really. But, and right now, I'm just using that for irrigation, mostly.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really use that water for drinking.
We could. I mean,
we might be able
filter
to.
it.
Yeah, just get it filtered. But we've been using them mainly for watering the plants, composting.
And building that fiber adobe shed.
Like the fiber adobe shed. Yeah. So we don't have to utilize necessarily the water we have in the tanks. we can utilize that water to kind of supplement some of these other activities that we're using out here.
So I'd say our attitude toward the rain has really changed being out here off grid. And we kind of talked about some of these older cultures and their rainmaking and their traditions. But we really started thinking about ourselves as being rainmakers too, because really humans have such a big impact on the environment and even the weather, and that's something that might not be immediately evident, but I think it's important to think about that, think about our impact and our use of energy and water and our stewardship of the land and how that impacts our environment and the rain even.
Yeah, absolutely. We truly are stewards of the land, and our actions or inactions can absolutely affect the rain. If we don't do anything to help our surrounding land, especially here being in an arid environment like we are, if we let the vegetation just kind of continue to erode away, we're going to see less rain out here. But if we take actions, if we start utilizing that rainwater, if we start growing more trees, growing more vegetation, you're absolutely going to see a direct environmental effect on that, including more rain. The more trees you have, the more rain will bring. So definitely stick around. Come be a part of what we're doing out here. Subscribe to our channel, keep watching, and celebrate the rain with us. Be more mindful of that. See how you can better utilize that resource around where you live.
And be a rainmaker.
Be a rainmaker. Watch what we're doing out here. Maybe that'll help give you some ideas. But we're going to keep working to best utilize this resource. We're definitely putting these plans in place to collect that rainwater. I mean, not only is it going to help us live out here off-grid, but it's also going to make a huge environmental impact where we are here in the desert. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, like I was saying before. You got to see what we do here as far as water harvesting and all the other things we got going on. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what are you guys doing about water harvesting or using that water resource.
And also check us out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter for stuff and things.
For stuff and things. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. Bye.